and welcome to Inside the Mind of, a podcast where I dive deeper into the mind of some of my favorite people and people who inspire me in the wrestling community. This is part 2. This is redo 2. I don't even care if people know that or not. Technical difficulties happen all the time, people. According to me, like, I'm Katie Kinsey Bebe, houses with the Moses. Players fuck up. It's okay. But I'm joined with the host of the Wrestling Index podcast, Mr. Tim King. How are you?
Yo, what's up, Katie Kinsey Baby? Thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it. Take 2 will be fun.
Take 2?
1 started fun, and take 2 will be even better.
Hell yeah.
Like you said, technical difficulties happen. Who cares? That's the business, right?
That's the business that we love. Literally happens to everybody. Thank God we weren't live streaming this. I'm so happy I don't do these live. Because you even asked me earlier if we do these live, and people have asked me before, and I'm like, I can't do it live because I want to give my full attention to whoever I'm talking to and interviewing, and if I have a second laptop up with chat, I'm going to be drawn to that like I am for my own show.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense for sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Obviously, I'm going to look the same whether we're live or not. It was just more or less of, are we going to be engaging with an audience while we were going or not? But just you and I doing this thing, I'm in.
It makes it a little easier for people who usually don't go live. I've had a lot of people on here who have never done a live show. They only just record everything after the fact, and then I have people who go live like every week. So I always just try and say, I'll keep it middle ground. I'll record it. I'm never gonna go live. Mainly for me, because I want to be there for the people I'm interviewing. That's really it.
Oh, that's awesome. And then, obviously if you got chats, you're pulling up the chats and you're engaging in those conversations. So no, in this platform, I dig it for sure. You never know. I hop in with, shout out to the League of Extraordinary Wrestling Idiots, our podcasting crew. I'll hop on. I'm not thinking we're live or anything. I'll be like just spitting at the mouth. They're like, oh, I'm glad we're live. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't know we were live. I thought we were just in the pre-show fist fight talking still. Why are we live right now? But, that's why I ask now before I hop in, just in case. Maybe I drop 1 or 2 less F-bombs, you know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, you can drop as many Fs as you want on this show. There's no censor, really. I swear all the time. I have the mouth like a sailor. Shout out to my dad. Thanks for giving me that. So, yeah, you can swear, you can say whatever. I've had out-of-pocket shit on here before. It's nothing new to me. So, however you need to express yourself to answer these questions, I really don't care. So, it's all good.
Well, thanks for having me again. I'm really happy to be here. When you brought it up, or when we were talking about it on Pornhub the other night, I was like, hell yeah, that's something I would definitely like to be a part of. So absolutely excited to be here.
What a conversation, or what a sentence to hear out of context. If you don't know...
No shit.
If you don't know that we both are on the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub for the show, then that conversation could take a complete left fucking turn, so...
Yeah, it's probably a good idea for you to clarify that, for sure.
That's why I'm here. I kind of know what I'm doing. I'm doing a few of these. This is like 15. I think I got the hang of it now. Just maybe. Now, again, I know you already answered this question, but nobody heard it, so I get to hear your answer again, and these lovely people who are going to be listening or watching get to hear. How did you get your start in podcasting, Tim?
Yeah, okay. I'll more than happily answer it again. So, it all started back it was about 5-6 years ago. I had a little venture going with a couple of my buddies called Sports Argument. We wanted to build an app where we had chat conversations for every sports game that was on. I wanted to have wrestling events too. They didn't. There was kind of a argument there. But while that was all going on, I had created a YouTube channel for myself where I started a podcast called The King of My Ring. My name is Tim King. So, play on words there, obviously. The King of My Ring podcast featuring your boy, TK. And it was awesome. I kicked ass. People really seemed to enjoy it. I was getting pretty decent views. I was doing what people are doing now 5 years ago. So I was on Facebook friending random people in the wrestling chat rooms, and then I would drop my podcast, tag 100 people, and hopefully get some sort of presence from there. I wasn't too big on Twitter back then. It was really just more Facebook about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. But then I kind of went separate ways with my guys over at Sports Argument. We we just butted heads over. I wanted wrestling involved. They didn't, or he didn't. There was like two that did, one that didn't. So I went my own way and I started something called All Everything Entertainment, and that was more of a website driven instead of podcast driven. Eventually, we went to live podcasts and all that. But unfortunately, I stopped doing what I was doing and focusing on myself and building something bigger. And that was a mistake. I wish I didn't do that because I'd like to think that if I would have kept doing what I was doing the way I like to think I'm a pretty entertaining guy and I'm knowledgeable as all hell. So you mix the two of them together, plus you have the social media aspect down. You're doing it for 5 years. Even if you do 50 episodes a year, that's 250 episodes. You know what I'm saying? Like it adds up. And instead, here I am just kind of flopping around doing, I love doing my show. I do a lot of guest spots, come on a lot of different people's show, talk in the wrestling community. But yeah, I just started it then. I wish I had stuck. I wish I had the King of My Ring podcast for the last 5 years and did nothing else. That's what I wish. But yeah, I'd like to think I was pretty early into it without knowing, like, that I was doing it right, if that makes sense.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. Like, a few podcasts I know just hit like 5 years, like this year, or like I'm only been podcasting for 2, and I've only had my own show for less than a year. So like, you're eons above me. So you really were like, from what everything you're saying, like you were kind of one of like the forefronts for wrestling podcasts back in the day.
Yeah, there wasn't 1,500 wrestling podcasts back then. There really wasn't. It's insane, and I love it. And that's the beauty of technology now. And that's why you get blunders where you're not recording when you think you're recording. Anyone could do it.
Yep.
I've taught so many people over the last 4 years how to start their own podcast, how to even build their own websites. Like it's so easy to do. As a matter of fact, I had this guy when I got my start into podcasting. Chris Cash is his name. He used to run or be a part of WrestlingInc.com and WrestleZone.com. My guys that I was at sport, I paid him $150 for 5 Zoom sessions where he taught me how to create websites and like market yourself. I totally forgot about that until it just came up. My buddies are like, what a waste that is. And at the time, maybe it was because maybe I didn't take like all of this information and put it together. But at the end of the day, if I actually knew what I was doing, the information he was telling me was very good information. So, yeah, so I was trying to learn. I was trying to get into it. I was trying to stick my teeth into it. I just, that podcast just didn't stick because I had bigger goals in mind.
I feel like every podcaster, especially now, because like you said, there is a lot of us. We all have bigger goals, like ways we want to expand our brands, expand our podcast. That's why I took the show I was doing once a week and I said I want to do interviews. And then I created this show in that same brand kind of thing. So I get it. And you helping other people, I've helped, like my co-host, I brought her into the podcasting world. She had no idea really what it was or how to do it. So like I brought her in. So it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, you can still help someone start up if they want to start up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, even if it's just answering a simple couple of questions. What's the best audio platform? What's an audio platform? Like, how do I just get going? Dude, just download the Anchor app. You literally, then you'll just hit record and there's your first podcast. And then you'll teach yourself and you'll grow. A lot of people I've helped through the years, and a lot of people have helped me through the years. There's a lot of good people in our community right now. A lot of the people, like we said, being on Pornhub with Ritter, he's a great guy. There's so many people like that, and you just reach out with, because of podcasting. It's so cool. What we do nowadays is, we're not professionals. So like, I say what we do, or it's the business. I don't mean it all thinking like fucking, I think I'm some sort of professional anything. I ain't seeing nothing. I don't think I'm professional anything, but I think what we do is cool because being able to interact with people from across, like Forbidden Doors just in Chicago. I had guys, Brett from Brainbuster podcast, He's from Kentucky. He was in Chicago. Daniel Bakley from Cage My IQ podcast. He was on Pornhub with us. He just came. He came in from New Jersey. Nick from the Universal Wrestling podcast came in from New Jersey. High Five Tom from Milwaukee came in. Chad, who runs the Visionaries Global Media Network, and then we all got together. We all hung out. Like that's so cool. Without doing what we do, that's not a thing. I'm sitting at home by myself ordering Forbidden Door. Or well, I went with my wife, so like I'd be there with my wife. But like I wouldn't have like got to go out on Saturday night before Forbidden Door and like enjoy the company of these awesome people. And I don't know how it was like you're a lot younger than me, but I don't know how it was like growing up for you growing up. For me, when we were growing up, there wasn't many wrestling fans. Shit, I just told you how I couldn't start what I wanted to start because I butt heads because I wanted to involve wrestling where they didn't. It's that thing. So being able to intertwine yourself with all of these other people in this community is fucking fascinating.
I agree 100%. There, especially once you find like a core group of people you gravitate towards more. Like you have the league, I have the calf. Like I get it 100%. Like those are my go-to people if I need something, if I need to vent, if I'm having a mental breakdown about this, I can go to them. If I need someone to hop on, like it's having a core group of people in this, call it industry, I guess. Like I'm also not seeing a damn dime, so I understand completely. That's why I say industry loosely, but having like a core group of people helps tremendously. Even if it's just like random, like I didn't know any of these people in real life at all. I just met a few of them for the first time in person last year. So
and that's awesome that you're able to meet them in person from just meeting them online. Like you build that relationship and you can do that. Like I want to hook up with more people like these. That was I want to go to do more wrestling stuff. Like that was just so much fun. Like it was a blast for sure.
I agree. Like meeting people that like you talk to on a daily basis in person is so cool because you're just like, oh my god, like you're a real person. That's so weird.
Yep, and I don't know about you. It's weird to say, but like the people I talk to in this community, I talk to every day. Like the phone's always going. I talk to these people more than I talk to real life people. Like I don't even have. Like I'm 37 now. Like my real life friends have dwindled. And like I communicate with these people online. I call them they're my friends. I don't sound like online. I communicate with my friends online like far more than I do with people in the real world, which is another. I think it's awesome for sure.
Yeah, like my phone has been constantly vibrating because all the group chats I'm in. So I usually just ignore it until the show's until we're done.
Yeah, I have to flip mine over because it's not.
It's just to the side. It's put away. I never look at it, but I just know that it's going off. So, whether it be your own show, any of the multiple guest spots you have done, do you have any favorite episodes you've been a part of?
Ooh, favorite episodes I've been a part of. So, yeah, there are a few. I did. I was a guest on the Brainbusters podcast. It was actually a concept that I thought of. They loved it. We're like, let's run it together. He wanted to do it. Brett is from Brainbusters. Wanted to do it with his partner Bo. They're like, hop on, let's do it together. Fantasy book WWE versus AEW. Before like everyone started doing it. It was really dope. That was cool. Because that was something I did on my website. I had a big article on it, and then we just kind of transferred it over to their podcast, which was cool. And then we get together with the League of Wrestling Idiots, and we get hammered pretty often, like every couple of weeks, and it's just fun to do. We do that often, and that's what I enjoy. And it's not like it'll be funny because we'll hop on and we'll be like, we're gonna preview SummerSlam, which we're gonna be doing Wednesday night, and we won't talk about SummerSlam for 3 hours into the show, and then we'll like have to cram SummerSlam into like an hour or two and be like then it's like 2:33. I mean, we went to like 5 a.m. before. Like we've had like 7-hour fucking live streams, and I mean I don't know who the fuck's watching. It's just us getting hammered, screaming at each other and shit. But those are the things that I enjoy doing. Otherwise, like my show, the Wrestling Index, I don't really have a specific episode that I like best. I did a couple Royal Rumble watch-alongs that I enjoyed. They did pretty well on YouTube. I think people like those. But just in general, I talk to myself on the Wrestling Index. Soon that'll change. I'm gonna start having guests on there. But it's just me talking to myself, and yeah. Just when I get together with the idiots, that's what I enjoy.
I've caught a few live streams, and yeah, you guys drinking and yelling at each other pretty much sums up most of what I've seen. A lot of
Yeah, well,
muting of Marcus, a lot of stuff like that.
poor
We
Marcus, poor
talked about that
Marcus.
last time we got together.
Poor guy. It's a blast. So he takes it fucking in stride. He's the best dude. I love Marcus, dude. Yeah, Ryan waxed a bottle of fucking Jack or something. Nick waxes 3 bottles of wine. I drink 12 Stellas, and everyone else does their thing in the process. So, but what you do get while we're yelling at each other and getting drunk, you get a lot of good wrestling information.
It's true.
We do talk good wrestling. It's not like you're not getting good information. We argue about good wrestling stuff. So, check it out sometime.
There is a lot of unexpected wrestling talk whilst you guys are screaming at each other, and again, I've only caught bits and pieces of some, but it's a time. It's a time. I'll say
Absolutely.
that lightly. I think people need to experience it for themselves if you would
It,
like to.
it's interesting for sure.
Now, this kind of goes along with that. With you doing a lot of stuff with the league and everything like that, any unexpected moments you can think of that happened when you were doing a show with them, your own show, any moments that made you go like, "What the fuck?" Bust out laughing, get like very confused, anything you can think of, really.
Oh God, bust out laughing. I mean, there's so much stuff. You just kind of dig into those episodes. Like, I don't want to dig in too much, but I laugh the whole time. I don't stop laughing. I get off and my cheeks hurt. Brett's fucking hilarious. Ryan's hilarious. There's a big thing. These guys, Bakley, they don't stop with Charlotte Flair. They say she's got a horse cock, and that's like the big joke.
Oh,
All
I
right,
remember that.
and that's the one that I couldn't stop. I laughed and I laughed and I Charlotte Flair, in my opinion, is the greatest women's wrestler of all time. So like I'm one of the very few on that show that'll defend Charlotte Flair. But the whole thing with them, her horse gimmick, whatever they think, you gotta check it out. That shit kills me. On my show, not so much. Like I said, I do it. I talk to myself, so it's kind of hard for me to pop myself. But yeah, with the league, the horse, that's the one. Yeah,
Uh,
that's it right there.
yeah, you said that, and I do remember hearing that a few times. Again, it's something people need to experience like firsthand. Like I know what you're talking about because like I know and I've worked with I think the majority of the guys in the league now through Smacking It Raw. Um so like I kind of have like this insider knowledge without being in the league, and I think you were like join us. I was like no thank you. I was like it's a no for me, but I appreciate it. I'm already
It's a
like the
no
only
from me, dog.
basically I'm already like the only girl in a lot of group chats, so y'all take it to an extreme that I can't deal with on a daily sometimes, being the only girl, but it was an appreciative offer, so.
Had to throw it out there. Had to throw it out there.
So, when you're not on your own show or you're not with the league, do you have any other hobbies that you like to do besides podcasting?
I got kids. I spend my time with my wife and my kids. So that, and I am obsessed with sports. So I'm currently run a website called floorslappersports.com. Ironically, the two people who it didn't work out with Sports Argument, my buddies, we call them the Mikes, Mike Dog and Michael Streets. We also have a podcast called Floor Slapper Sport, or goddamn, I'm all over the place. I have so many things going on. Our podcast, the three of our podcasts, is called the Floor Slappers Podcast. You take it off basically if you watch any college basketball game. There's always that hustle player walks back, slaps the floor, like come on, bring it to me. We talk about like all sports, but like at the end of the day, we're floor slappers, we're grinders, we're tryhards. We're never gonna be that dude. We're not the star. So that's where the name came from. And we got back together after like we had like a falling out. We got back together after like 4.5, 5 years, started doing that podcast again. I was running the Wrestling Index website and doing that podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Started this podcast, and then I was like, "Fuck!" Just like I don't want to have two brand. Like I don't want to run two websites. So I was like, I'm gonna take the Wrestling Index as much as I want to just keep that going because it's my baby. Well, temporarily shuts you down, and then I started up floorslappersports.com. So you'll find sports, wrestling, a lot of fantasy football content on there. Um, so that's my only hobby. I watched like today. I had my kid. I was off of work. I had my kids. I watched G1 Climax. I got two TV setups. So I got Elmo on one TV. I got G1 Climax on the other one all day. For I watched day 3 through day 5 today. So I literally my hobbies are watching wrestling, doing shit with sports, doing stuff on my website, and then obviously I got my kids and my wife. My wife, for whatever ungodly reason, decided she wanted to get into wrestling with NXT Black and Gold. She fell in love with Keith Lee and Adam Cole and Undisputed Era back then, and she got into wrestling, which I don't know if it was good or bad for me because wrestling kind of was on the fucking decline to me. And then she got AEW happened and NXT Black and Gold became AEW, and she got into it. So it pops me that she's into it, So that's all I spend my time doing. I watch wrestling, I watch sports, I run that website, and my kid's 2 months old. As soon as he's like 6 months old, then he'll have a normal sleeping schedule at night, and you'll see me doing I was ripping podcasts. She had the baby. My podcast life is so down. As soon as he's like 6 months old, I'll be back doing these shows on regular. Like how you just said you just said 4 or 5 shows. Yeah, that's what I was doing before her pregnant or she had the kid. And then once Colton came, I was like, but you got a parent, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. I'll give it 4 months and I'll be on 4 or 5 days a week. And you'll get sick of me.
Honestly, that's how I feel with people with me. I'm like, how you all aren't sick of me yet? I've been everywhere, but please don't get sick of me because I like doing this. This is like my only bit of serotonin, so I get it.
No, and it's and I don't mean to sound like sexist by any means, but it's fucking awesome. Having females in this community doing what you do, it's so cool. You didn't have this shit 5 years ago, but you definitely didn't have females in this space. And seeing more and more females represented in this space is, like I just said, my wife got into it. I never fucking thought she'd get into it. She hated wrestling, but seeing what you do in this space with podcasting and even Denise from Fightful and everything she does, she's in my opinion, I think she's a great example for women in this industry. Mm-hmm. And you, I think fucking what you're doing is huge. So big ups to you.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you. Yeah, the women podcasters that I know are few and far in between. But I have started to slowly see more female-based wrestling podcasts pop up, which is good, like you said, because we're a very small community here. That's why I am the only female in group chats and everything like that. It's because either there's not a lot of us or none that click with us. So, and yeah, I have an older brother. I grew up watching wrestling. I hid it from friends in high school. I'm like, oh yeah, I just have to go home. It's time for me to go. Yeah, sorry, but it was something to be ashamed of for some reason. But now I'm I post that I went to Vegas for Money in the Bank and how I went to Vegas last year. So at this point I don't fucking care. I just turned 26. I do not fucking care anymore. If people like it, cool. If people want to argue with me and tell me it's fake, okay, I'll accept your argument and then move on with my life.
Right. And that was exactly what I was talking about earlier, where it's so hard. You do have to be ashamed. And even someone like me, right? I'm a very outgoing guy. If you want to fucking tell me something, I'll fucking tell you to fuck off. You want to fuck with me? Let's go. That's me.
Yep.
But even someone like me with certain people, in high school, I had to hide that I was a wrestling fan. I'd wear a wrestling shirt to school. You fucking loser, you dork. Yeah. I'd be like, damn, it's D-Generation X is telling you to suck it. You can suck it, motherfucker, is what you can do. And I'll still tell him to fuck off. I'm not ashamed, oh, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's yeah, I'm a person. I got feelings.
Yep.
It hurts. It hurts my feelings. So that sucks. and that's why this community is awesome. And I hope like more people, like kids, I don't know. I think people are probably more open to it now than they were back in the day. A lot of nerd stuff's in. Like nerd is cool now. Like when I was younger, nerd wasn't cool. Like this shit wasn't cool. But being a nerd now is cool. So I don't know. I don't know how it is, but I'm fucking old as shit. So who knows?
You're not that old. I mean, I could say you're only like 11 years older than me, but that might make you feel old. So never mind.
I'm like 7 years older than my wife, so she does it to me all the time. So I get it. But
Yeah, it's weird because I am like one of the youngest people that I know who are doing this. Like all my friends are like either like 28, 29, or in their 30s already. So I'm just like a small child. They talk about shit that happened in 96. I'm like, "Oh my god, that's the year I was born." And they look at me, they're like, "You're an actual child. What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm sorry."
uh, too funny.
It's a time. It's really a time. Uh, but if you could have, do you remember like the table for three they would have on the network? If you could have basically your own version of that, so it would be you and three other wrestlers, dead or alive. Who are you picking and why?
Ooh, three other wrestlers ever in the history of wrestling?
In the history of wrestling, whatever three wrestlers you would want at this date, this dinner with you.
Oh my god, this is such a tough question because there's so many. Oh my
Yup.
god, it could be Austin to have a drink with. It could be The Rock because he's going to be the future president of the United States and he's funny as fuck. Tell stories. I would love to go out with Flair because I could fucking party fucking for 65 hours with him and just do the damn thing, dude. Oh, there's Piper and Dusty for stories. But I think I'm going to go with Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, and Triple H because I'm going to have him tell. I'd love if Nash could be there, but of the four of them, he's going to be the most boring here. And here's the reason why. I think Nash would tell great stories, but I need someone sober, all right, because I'm not down with that DUI life. So Triple H was always the sober member of the clique to make sure that they got home safe. So, and Sean and Scott, they were the ones who were always fucking getting lit. So I'm gonna get lit as fuck with. I'm talking. I'm not talking about nowadays Shawn Michaels. I'm talking about click Shawn Michaels back in his fucked up days. All right, I'm gonna party hard with Sean and Scott and have trips take us home. So that's gonna be my table for three. I'm going with the click, baby.
I think I might be you might be the first person who's picked like people from the same stable. I feel like everyone else has picked like, I think Will just chose like one from like him growing up, a current, and then like an up and coming. So
I could have totally went with. Look at, I got a watching the video. I got a CM Punk tattoo right here on my arm, and I'm not down with wrestling tattoos, but this is a Chicago-based tattoo. It's not like it's just a CM Punk nerd out thing. It's Chicago Bears, Blackhawks, and CM Punk all built into one.
yeah.
Me and two of my buddies all got the same one. We drew it up one night. We were all fucked up, and then we went and got it the next day. Who would have fucking thunk? I could have easily went Austin Punk Flair. That would be magnificent. That would be a hell of a time. But I'm thinking outside the box here. I'm gonna go clicked up. I'm gonna hope Big Kev's back in the limo on the way home. Or I guess we don't need a limo of Hunter's driving, but maybe he's back in that car that they rented back. Take us back to the hotel. You know.
He's actually just like at a separate table by himself, kind of just like listening to the conversation.
They were sipping on his Merlot with his fucking pinky up, as you know he does. Fucking big sexy man.
So, we were kind of talking about how you like help people try and like get into this, or if you've answered questions for people looking to get into podcasting. Do you have just any advice, whether it just be podcasting, general advice, life advice, anything you want to tell the people who are watching or listening?
Yeah, so this might sound like jaded information here, but always look out for yourself and worry about yourself first. And I spent I spent a lot of time, and I still do. I find myself guilty of it still. Like I just build in FloorSniperSports.com because I want to have like a small network. But I spent so many years building up networks and trying to help people and put a network together and do this. Like I had the website, all everything entertainment. We were doing like 18,000 views a day. We had like 30 podcasts, like a bunch of writers. It was a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, when it dissolves, it would, for me, as the leader, I got no personal stake out of it, if that makes sense. Like I was always so worried about what everyone else was doing. Worry about yourself and get yourself off the ground. Build a brand for yourself. Like you be you and build that brand around you. And then once you have that brand, once like now I'm me. I'm Tim King. I'm the Wrestling Index. That's what I am now. And I can go build Floor Slapper Sports, and I'm going to say the Wrestling Index is going to be on Floor Slapper Sports, but there will never not be the Wrestling Index. Like that's me now. Like I am the Wrestling Index. The Wrestling Index is Tim King. I should have kept that when I did all everything entertainment, and I wonder where I would be now. So just even if like someone asks you to be on a network, cool, join up on that network, but still look out for yourself. Still have your own content on your own YouTube channel, on your own audio network, whatever it is that you want to provide your own content. Join the network. I love networks, man. I love the league. I mean, we're not even a network. We just are a bunch of friends who support each other. Our shit's not all in one spot. And then there are awesome networks like the Visionaries Global Media Network that I have my podcast on with Chad. I asked Chad, do I need to have my podcast just on his network, or can I still keep him on mine? He said, bro, I'm not fucking paying you. Keep your shit on your own stuff. You can still put him here. Awesome. Love that. That's great support within a fucking awesome community. But I was just making sure that my brand, still the Wrestling Index, was protected, because at this point, you always just need to make sure that you and your brand are the most important thing to you, and then go from there. That's what I would say for sure.
No, I think that's great advice. Like, I've been a part of a show and then got my own show within that show, that network, I guess. But then I just said, you know what, I would rather just do my own thing. And then I basically said did what you said. Like, ShElite Showcase is the brand. I have the weekly show, which is that. I have this, which is my pride and joy. This is my baby, as I've called it before. And then my co-host has a whole show that I just upload for her. It's all about New Japan. And then I have a show that has gone through a few iterations already. But it's like a collab show. So like I've done basically what you've said and kind of just went into business for myself. And that's what I think a lot of people need to do.
And like I said, it sounds very jaded to say, because I still am working and collaborating with other people. Like when I built like the floorslappersports.com, on that website, not only am I putting my own wrestling content, my own Floor Slappers content, written content, list rankings, that kind of stuff, but I want the Wrestling Index, fuck, I'm the rest, the Universal Wrestling Podcast, and Nick, his interviews, I think they're fascinating. So let me get that. I'll put that on the website. Maddie Daddy is fantasy football stuff. Let me get that shit. I'll put it on the website. Before, it was just me with all everything entertainment. It was me trying to lead people, and Bakley was there with me. We were just trying to lead, guide. We were pumping out 20, 30 articles a day. We were doing like 3 live podcasts a night. We were doing like 15, 20 a week. But at the end of the day, I wasn't getting like I was doing like, my wife was just like, why are we even like wasting? Like, my wife was writing reality stuff. She was about to do a podcast too. It was like, why are we doing this? We're not reaping any benefits. I was stressed 24/7. I was working on this shit like 16 hours a day. Maybe if I regret deleting it. The way I went about things was unprofessional, rude. I'm definitely had regrets. You grow, you learn.
Yep.
I also let people it was my operation. I should have never let people think they were a VP or or gave them a role of any significance. No, this is mine. Just because you're here still, all right? You're not here, you're here. You're not me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It got too big too fast with no benefits. Everyone can get a Manscaped fucking what are they, sponsorship? Anyone can get a Manscaped sponsorship, So all I kept thinking to myself was, man, I just put fucking like 2.5, 3 years into this thing, and I got nothing out of it, And if I kept with the king of my ring and did none of this, I'd fucking probably be some big fucking YouTuber right now in the wrestling community. So with 18 fucking thousand wrestling podcasters out there right now.
Yep.
The only thing that you can do is try to stick out, be different, be you,
Yep.
and build your brand. That's it. I just wasn't trying to sound like a dick because I love collaborations. As I said on here 100 times, I go on any show that I can come on. I'd love to come on because I love talking wrestling with people. But I do it as, hey, I'm Tim King from the Wrestling Index. That's it. So you go and do you. I'm Katie Kinsey Bebe from the ShElite.
Yep.
Boom, do you. That's it.
Yeah, and like I'm an unofficial official co-host on another podcast. Like, uh, trust me, I get it. I will hop on any podcast if somebody asks. I love like this is one of the only things like I really love to do. So anytime I can podcast, fuck yeah, I'm in. Whether it's talking about wrestling, I've done horror movie podcasts with Matt and Reek. Like, I watched the whole fucking Star Wars franchise because I'd never seen it because I had a friend who, like, we fell out, so I was, like, very hesitant towards the series because she was, like, one of those super fans. So I didn't want to watch, and then lo and behold, it's Reek's favorite series, and he's my advocate, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole storyline we have now. And so I watched all of the movies, and we did podcasts on those. So it's looking out for yourself and being different, but also sticking your neck out every once in a while and, like, putting out peepers like, hey, anybody want to collab on something?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And that's why I love. I think Matt asked me, or Matt, it's weird. I always call him Ritter. I think he asked me the first time to come on Pornhub, and then I fucking 6 weeks later, I was like, "Yo, I'd love to come back on Pornhub." Like, it's just a good time when you connect with people, hopping on a show, talking with them. Like, I had a blast going on Pornhub. I'd love to go back. I'd love to come back on. The World Elite podcast. I think they do really good stuff on there. They always do prediction shows. Unfortunately, the last two prediction shows I was on, my kids started freaking out, so I just won't go on them anymore. They started at 7 Central on Thursdays generally. I hopped on two. My kid cried the last two times. I was like, sorry guys, can't do it. But I love going on there, doing it with them. So it's just it's finding that right niche, and just enjoying yourself and really just have fun with it. That's where I Shawn Michael'd myself and I lost my smile for a little bit, and it was all because I was worried about everyone else.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I'm so happy now in this community. I don't care if I get fucking 14 views on a YouTube video. I don't give a shit. I had fun doing it, and that's really all that matters.
I agree. As long as you're having fun doing it, that's really the main thing. Like, I don't care if I never see a dime from any of this shit. I've had so much fun doing this already.
Yeah, and I had people and that's like another reason, like I said, like when everything entertainment went to shutdown, I had people in my ear when guys were doing like live shows. They'd be like, "Why are they taking a sip of Dr. Pepper? Why are they drinking? What are they doing?" And I'm just like, who the fuck cares, dude? Like, oh, I have so much regrets. Fuck, man. I fucking enjoy myself the whole time. I mean, why not? Who cares? Like I said earlier when we talked. We'll call it a business, an industry, whatever, but by no means are we professionals. Whatever you enjoy doing, enjoy it. You want to drink coffee the whole time, beer the whole time, you drink water, I fucking drink whatever you want. Enjoy yourself. It's so important.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have a co-host who would do bong rips on a live stream, so I've seen it all. And I've done podcasts hammered many a times, so I get it. So your life has been, you said you're 37, podcasting life alone, you have had many ups and downs, roller coaster if you will, but for your overall life, or if your podcasting life, whatever you choose, if you could write an autobiography of your life to this point, what would be the title and why?
Oh, fuck. Oh man, you really put me on the spot with this one. Ooh.
I do that.
Fuck. Okay. I would say gonna sound so self-deprecating, but I would say how to avoid massive disappointments. Oh, it's not even. No, it's not disappointments. Is the word. Damn, you really caught me up good here. Um. Oh fuck. Can I get a pass? Can I come back to this question? Can
If
I?
you want to, we can come back to this.
Um. I could have probably thought of something simple. Yeah, I want to come back. I need to think about the question.
Okay.
I need a pass if that's okay.
That's fine. Yeah, you can if even if it just comes to you whenever we're still talking, just be like, I figured it out, and just stop me mid
Okay.
sentence.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. So, like I told you, so this will be out in 2 weeks from when we record. So, for the next month or so, what do you have lined up? What are your future plans?
Life podcasting
Uh,
or
anything, both.
yeah. Yeah, so I guess in the next month I'm going to my wife's family reunion here in Indy. I'm from Chicago. So obviously the tattoo should have fucking gave that away. We're going to my wife's family reunion up in Indiana, about 4 hours away this weekend.
Fun.
Um, Other than that, I have absolutely no plans at all. Hang out at the house with the kids, but I know you only said a couple of weeks, but about 6 weeks out, it is, as they say, all out weekend here in or all out week
Oh
here in
yeah.
Chicago, and we will be doing all out all fucking week. We got our tickets, so we'll be going to Dynamite. We will be going to Rampage. We'll be going to All Out, and then last year, which was the funnest part of the whole week, they had a celebrity softball game
Mm-hmm.
there's a minor league baseball stadium about 10 minutes from where we live. They had a celebrity softball game last year. All donated, or everything was donated to adoption for animals, dogs,
Okay.
cats. It was good fun. They had autographs set up, so we got to meet Jungle Boy, MJ.
Nice.
Darby was on the other side. We didn't stand in his line. We chose the Jungle Boy side instead of the Darby side,
I
and
would love
then
to
we
see that.
met. Yeah, I got to touch Wardlow. You'd be jealous. Yeah, I got pictures. Yep,
Damn it.
yep. Uh, yep. We got to meet the Gun Club. So yeah, we had a really good time there. That was the best time of the week, and then it was awesome. Punk wrestle Daniel Bryan. I fucking sound like Jr. Brian Danielson showed up. Adam Cole showed up. It was awesome. So that I absolutely look forward to, and I'll name it. I got the name of my
Oh, okay.
autobiography.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna simply call it this: Life isn't wrestling. All right, I live my life, my whole life. I've been watching wrestling since fucking 1991. So I've been watching wrestling since I was 6 years old. A lot of times you can get caught up in the wrestling world where you think wrestling is not real, but I look at things, and I always everything in my life I fucking compare to wrestling. I think it could either be a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want I only lost like one fight my entire life. I've gotten to probably like 60. I've whooped a bunch of ass. But the one time like I was all cocky, like I was a fucking wrestler, I fucking turned around to my friends. I was like shrugging my shoulders, put my mouth guard in, like I'm about to whoop this. Ugh! In this fucking starting, I was fighting the starting football or starting fullback of the football team. I should have fucking probably been a little bit more cognizant. He fucking spears me into a snow mound. My arms are underneath me, and dude just fucking clobbers my face, knocks me
Jesus.
out. But I'm always thinking wrestling. I fucking everything I see, I think could either this storyline. I'll see something like random. I'll be like, ooh, in the wrestling world, my son is 20 months old. He and my wife were rolling around. He gets down. He goes 1, 2, and then he rolls himself like to get out of the pin. My life is built around wrestling, and sometimes I think that it warps it, not in a bad way, but it consumes it mentally. So life isn't wrestling, we'll call it that.
I like that. See, look, and you found your title.
It had to come to me. I was thinking like naturally, like everyone, like I have a good life. I've got kids. Fucking, life is life, but I couldn't think of like a life for my actual autobiography. But my wrestling world life isn't wrestling.
That's a That's a perfect title. And it's ironic you brought up All Out. So my co-host is going All Out, but I'm actually going to be in Chicago the weekend before All Out.
Shit, what are you doing out here?
Actually meeting up with Ritter, Vince, a few other people. So we'll think of something. Nothing's set in stone. We don't really have plans for anything yet, but we're trying to get everything
Uh,
together.
I live 20 minutes from Ritter. I tell him all the time I'm gonna come fucking raid his backyard and play on his swing set and shit with my kid. So hey, hello, hit your boy up.
We will. We're all still trying to like figure out what we want to do. Like we just all started talking about it last night. We're like, so do we really have like plans or what's the deal? But yeah, so I will be in Chicago. I'll make sure we all meet up. You will be included in this. I feel like the
Well,
majority of people
yeah,
I know are from fucking Chicago, anyways. So it's gonna end up
we got a
like
we got a big community out here. That's why everyone complains. Oh, AEW's back in Chicago. Hey, we sell out everything they do. All right, everything they do, we sell out. So
that's fair. Now, Tim, I have been asking you a lot of questions. You have told me things about your life. Do you have any questions for me?
I do.
Podcasting, personal, whatever. Hit me with it.
Yeah, I do. So you said your brother watched wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you get into it? Like how old were you and who got you into it?
So I have told this story before, and I still can't find the picture. So my brother's 5 years older than me, so he was already like watching by the time I was born. There's a picture of me in my like playpen, stone cold shirt, binky in the mouth, wrestling on TV. So watching it very very young. I can't really remember who like which wrestler got me into it, but I like John Cena is like my goat. Like everyone has their
Yeah.
goat. Cena's mine. Like 2002 when he debuted, I was like, oh shit, okay. And I have followed his career ever since. Like that is my favorite wrestler. I used to get Cena shirts every year for Christmas and my birthday. I am a big Cena stan. So that's probably the one who kept me involved in wrestling and like his return to the Rumble. Oh my god, I lost my shit. I was like a teenager and I was screaming at the top of my lungs because Cena came back like earlier than expected because I thought he was gonna be out forever. Because back then I didn't know like behind the scenes shit that like a lot of us know now because it was 2008. I wasn't on Twitter like talking to
Right.
people about wrestling. No, like, but I would say probably like Stone Cold Rock got me started into wrestling. I guess.
Cool. So was there like a certain match then that like you remember? Like do you have like a memory of a first match
Um.
or like a first show?
So first match, I remember. Oh God, I don't. Again, I don't know years for a lot of stuff, but it was a buried alive match. And Undertaker used to scare the living shit out of me as a child. I was terrified of this man, and like I get it, it makes sense. Like I actually just watched the biography earlier today because I haven't watched them yet. I didn't watch Bill Goldberg because fuck Bill Goldberg, but then that's gonna take taken out of context again. But I can't remember which Buried Alive it was, but I have a distinct memory of that. The first show I remember going to, I think it was like a house show in 2005 or something. I had like a Polaroid camera I was taking pictures on. I got the film developed. I have all my ticket stubs from when I used to go to shows a lot. So those are on the other wall, and I can't even get to them right now. Um, but then I also got to go to a WrestleMania. Like I went to 23.
Okay. Oh, nice. That was HBK John Cena.
Cena driving the car through the glass. Yep,
Yeah.
I loved
Okay.
it. Big,
Nice.
big Cena guy, so I was living
Yeah.
that night. It was like that was my first time going out of state for a wrestling show.
Where was that one?
Detroit,
Oh shit. And where are you from?
Pittsburgh,
Pennsylvania, right?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, okay, cool.
So
Oh, so was that Ford Field?
yes, Ford Field.
Nice,
Still have the
nice.
shirt. I got the Touch Sabu because the ECW originals came from like the tippy top. We had like nosebleeds, but I didn't care because I got to go and see
Yeah,
it.
hell yeah.
From nosebleeds for Mania 23 to basically being on the floor for Money in the Bank in Vegas.
Shit. Wait, this past Vegas, you were there?
Yeah.
Oh shit! And you had floor seats?
So originally when it was at Allegiant, me and TC from Young Kings, we bought our tickets like same row, same section because we wanted to sit with each other because that was the whole point, like going with friends. And then they moved it to MGM Grand, so then tickets got switched around and everything. So I was the section right above the floor, I guess, but I was the third row.
Yeah, hell yeah. Awesome seats.
Oh, definitely better seats than what I got at fucking Allegiant. Like, so I'm kind of happy it got switched, and
Yeah.
that walk to Legion is terrible, especially in the heat. I'm so happy I didn't have to do that again, but definitely got a better seat for the money I paid, which was a lot of fucking money.
And Money in the Bank was fucking awesome. I marked that was a show that I marked out hard for because I wanted LITB in the worst way. And not only did I get to live in the bank, but I got to live in a motherfucking championship. So I was all in on that shit.
I actually almost missed her cash in. So
Yeah,
listen,
well, because you probably went to the bathroom because it was fucking yeah, no shit. That was the match of the night you go to the bathroom. Like, who the fuck wants to watch that match?
yeah,
So I get it. I get
I
it for
I
sure.
had no interest in seeing Natty and Ronda, so like I got up to pee. I have a friend who works with WWE, so I was talking to him because he was out there, and then he was like, "You might want to like go." And then I was like, why? And then I heard Liv's music. I was like, oh shit! So I just booked to the closest curtain, stood there. Some ladies yelling
Yeah.
at all of us to go to our seats. We're like, no. And I immediately pull out my phone. Thank God the match wasn't long and she won in like 30 seconds. But I'm so happy I got to see that. I love Liv
Yes.
Morgan.
Who doesn't? I mean, like,
If,
wow, how couldn't you? I mean,
uh,
what the fuck?
honestly.
Yeah, come on, goddamn. Yeah, no, that and she deserves it. Like,
100%.
she's fucking earned that. She's worked her in wrestling. It's always great when you see someone actually progress and get better. She
Mm-hmm.
was very, very raw a couple of years ago,
Oh,
not
yeah.
very good. And my God, what she has done for herself in the ring, on the mic, her character work, fucking fantastic.
I agree. I love Liv Morgan.
And then the other thing I will ask you, because I can sit here and talk wrestling all day. The other thing I, the other thing I will ask you is, so just like what got you into wrestling, what got you into podcasting? What was your first podcast? What made you do this?
So, the pandemic happened, right? And I was on my computer a lot because I wasn't working, and I was just like, well, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to deal with other humans, and so I started like consuming more wrestling content. And I saw like Lillian Garcia had her podcast, Jericho had his, so I watched and listened to a few episodes of each. So I just happened to make a Twitter specifically for wrestling because I didn't want to bother all of my friends with all of that. So I made that's the Twitter that I have now, and I just happened to tweet out, like, what your girl got to do get on a wrestling podcast. That's the key phrasing. On a wrestling podcast. Cut to Steven from Wrestling News tells me to hit him up in the DMs. I was like, okay. Again, I was very young. It's a few years ago, so I was like 24 ish. And I was like, creepy man or man I don't know telling me to slide in his DMs. Fine, whatever. I did it anyways. And he got me in touch with Kyle of the Smacked Raw podcast, who was looking for an AEW Dynamite host. I was like, I watch Dynamite. I like that. Okay. So I had a Zoom interview call with Kyle. And then, like, that next Monday, I was on a Raw recap with him and Kevin. My internet froze. I was lost in the call. Very good way to start. Knowing my track record with technology, I should have seen the blunder that happened like an hour ago. Should have seen it coming. But I did that. started doing Dynamite recaps every Wednesday, like after the show. I did SmackDraw for a year. Hit a year. I said, alright, Kyle, I'm going to go do my own thing. Started ShElite. September 16th was the first show we posted. So, we're not even at a year yet. And everything has kind of just blossomed from there.
It's fucking awesome. That's great on you. You know, it's cool you joined the network, you did your thing, but it's even better that you realize your worth, went independent, and then independently started your own brand. So awesome. Good for you.
Thank you.
What got you on Pornhub? Oh, see, that's another one you got to phrase right.
Yeah. Matt was in like the chat all the time for all the recaps I was doing for SmackDraw, and he already had like a working relationship with Vince, who is now his co-host, and so he asked me. He was like, "Hey, would you like to be on my podcast?" I was like, "Sure." And then he had to like preface. He was like, "It's on Pornhub. Is that okay?" And I was like, "That's fine." So I did one show with him and Travis. I didn't get bullied. It was a nice time. It was my first guest spot on anything. So SmackDown was like my first guest spot ever. Because I don't count SmackDown because I was basically on the show already at that point. And then it progressed to me being an official co-host of the show like a year later.
Nice. So you've been doing that for about a year now?
So on and off, I was making like a few guest appearances, and then Vince took a lot of time off at the end of last year, and I'm typically not doing anything on a Friday night at midnight my time because I'm an hour ahead. And so I was just like, yeah, sure. And so I always was there if Matt needed me, and that's how the whole Pornhub Poppy race started, because the one night I joked, I was like, I'm the Pornhub Poppy now, kind of like the I'm the captain now thing. And that's why I said it as like a joke, and now it has spiraled into a full-blown fucking competition between me and Vince, which I'm currently up to, so I will take that win for right now.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Great job. That's really cool.
Thank you. It's a fun time. Like I said, I love doing other shows, especially ones where I don't have to talk a lot and I get just to sit there and soak in everyone else.
Yeah, especially if you're doing a lot of hosting like this, for sure.
Yep. Oh yeah. And like that's why like I'm doing another podcast tomorrow, but it's a movie review and it's Mean Girls, so I can just talk about Mean Girls for like an hour and a half.
There you go. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that actually.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It'll be great. But if you have nothing else for me, tell the people where they can find you. Plug your socials. You know what to do.
Yeah, hell yeah. First and foremost, go to floorslappersports.com. That's where you can find everything TK. You can find the Wrestling Index podcast. You can find our Floor Slapper Sports podcast on there, plus a bunch of other lists, rankings, wrestling content, sports content, fantasy football content. If that's what you're into, check that out. Especially with football season coming up. We're going to be fucking hammering out fantasy football like it's hot. So check that out. Plus all my wrestling content's on there. You can also find the Wrestling Index podcast on all major audio platforms, iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, the works. A little bit on YouTube. I don't focus on YouTube as much as I should. I will be going forward. I should have a new podcast host. I will be doing a third podcast here soon. I don't want to spoil it. Maybe I should. Maybe I won't. But I'll have a new partner, a partner coming up. We're working on getting that launched here shortly. So I'll have a third podcast in the works where I'll be talking mostly wrestling, some sports, and then I'll still be doing the Wrestling Index. So you can really find me all over the place. Just search the Wrestling Index on Twitter if you want to find me there. And Katie, thank you so much for having me. This has been fucking a lot of fun.
Oh, it's no problem, man. Thank you for doing this. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at KateRowson13. Link to my bio to take all things ShElite Showcase. Twitch.tv/ShElite Showcase. Typically Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, unless something happens where we have to go on a Wednesday. YouTube.com/ShElite Showcase. Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. If you want to listen, I always say watch the videos. They're way more fucking entertaining, personally speaking. Thank you to Justin Heel Tactics for making all the music for all of the shows that I host. This show Inside the Mind of, ShElite Showcase, which is the weekly show, In the Crowd, which, again, I don't know really what it is anymore, and my co-host's show, New Japan Takeover. Tim, thank you again so much for doing this. This was a blast. I think this second go around, we didn't get far in the first one, but I think this was it.
This was it. This was it for sure. Fuck that first one. That didn't matter to me. This was far better for sure.
Oh yeah, we were only like 3 minutes on the other one, so that's okay.
Yeah, fuck it.
Alright, thank you guys so much again for watching and listening. We'll catch you next time. Bye bye.
Later.